we covered our eyes and refused to see things that were in plain sight. And COVID brought to light what many, many, many people knew were existing in their lives, and that is that resources were scattered, they were not coordinated, they were really not accessible, even though we described them as such. And we began to think about, how do we really value health and well-being in this society? Not just, it's your responsibility, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, to get down to that clinic, to get down to that grocery store, but how do we really assure the conditions are available, accessible, and I dare say immediate to the need and point? There are a lot of narratives in our nation that sound good, that we say and we don't actually do. But one for sure, are we our brothers, sisters? Are we each other's keeper? And there is a mutuality of relationship that we have. We cannot live our lives in a bubble. And I really believe that COVID showed us, one, that connectedness exists, and two, that we can actually leverage that connectedness. You know, if my neighbor's house is on fire, my house is in jeopardy. And COVID began to give us that urgency. Oh, do you know so-and-so has COVID? Such and such has COVID. They're closing down that business. That impacts me. And we began to see I dare say, value and importance of relationship. I always describe myself as a relationship-driven leader. One of my favorite relationship quotes by Dr. Ron David says, relationships are primary. All else is derivative. And COVID began to show us that. How do you know how to get to the vaccine? How do you know how to get to care if your grandmother is not feeling good and you're not sure what to do? We leveraged relationships during the COVID pandemic. There, I don't think, is any sector in our society that's going to be unchanged and unimpacted by all of the things that we learned and experienced together as a society. I mean, we all shared a collective trauma. And trauma can either make us bitter or it can make us better. And my hope and prayer is that this collective trauma, make us better across relationships, across resources, and every aspect of how we live our lives.